Thank you, ARG Board, for allowing me a slot to talk about the importance of implementing a fully robust and well-executed cybersecurity plan. So under my analysis and under the NIST cybersecurity framework, which is essentially a framework allowing good governance and sharing of best practices for industries to use to make sure they secure their crown jewels and their assets. Under my analysis, this organisation is categorised as a Tier 2, which essentially means we have a good appreciation for risk, we have good policies and procedures in place, but not all of them fully executed, and we are limited in how we protect our assets. Significant room for improvement. An organisation such as ours really needs to be at a Tier 4, and that's our future state, and that's what my plan incorporates. Our most valuable assets is that of our data. We have customer data, employee data, sensitive information of various customers, employees and stakeholders that really needs to be protected, and that's our crown jewels. That's the information that allows our business to thrive and remain unique, and it helps us achieve our organisation's mission. However, if it's not protected, we can get in a little bit of trouble from customers and regulators. So we want to make sure that we have a good heightened level of security to protect it for the benefit of our business, ourselves, shareholders, employees and customers. Tier 4 would mean that not only can we have better protection of our data and assets, it means that we can start to detect cyber circumstances really early, and by detecting, what I mean is really understanding the cyber kill chain at each stage. And the better our organisation understands that cyber life cycle, the cyber attack life cycle, the better we will be in a position to lessen any threat or ensure threats don't occur in the first place. So Tier 4 is where we really need to get to. Now, the laws in Australia mean that we must comply with the Australian privacy principle laws. And if we mistreat or disrespect the importance of protecting such data, we can get in a lot of trouble, and it can actually be crippling to the business. If any data or our crown jewels are destroyed by any third party, stolen, leaked, or breached, we're in a position where we have to not only notify a regulator and pay a fine, a potential fine, we have to pay money to notify all of our customers, we have to pay money to potentially improve or fix any reputational damage and customer confidence. The list goes on. We don't want to put our business in a position where we go through that unfortunate circumstance which can create turmoil and put our business in a crippling position. And those rules are in place for very good measure, and it helps obviously protect customers and puts them in a position to respond better if someone did breach their data. All of it takes one click, so let's try and avoid that. I've undertaken a roadmap or a risk analysis profile of our organisation, and it enables me to demonstrate how we get from a Tier 2 to a Tier 4, and it's not an overnight fix. Some things that will allow me to take the business on that journey are two things. Understanding the business appetite for risk, so what we can live with, what we can't, what we must avoid, what we must mitigate, or what we must transfer. And also weaving through a cost-benefit analysis through that to determine the way up of the cost versus to fix or remediate versus accepting the risk in full. In addition to that, I would want to be weaving through my risk treatment plan. So I've undertaken analysis to understand what the risks are today, and those risks are fairly significant. A great example would be, as a business, we have 80,000 people who have mobile devices or laptops, and many work on the go or work remotely. And everyone expects great access and broad access to files and instant access to cloud. Now that can create significant risk. For example, if data was exploited through this means, the impact could be major. Although the probability could be rare, it still may be possible. A great example would be what happens if a device is lost or stolen and a third party accesses our information and network through one of those devices. I have a solution, and it's implementing the zero trust security model. Okay, so what that means is we now start viewing people as our network perimeter, not the network perimeter alone. So if people are going to be the perimeter, the way we identify those people is through a verification process, verification of identity. Therefore, one of my recommendations is once this is implemented, the zero trust model means that we trust no one and verify everyone, no matter the location or device. And what this means is it allows the right people to have access to the right tools and the right information at the right time, regardless of location or device. And we want to make sure that the friction is seamless. So amongst other parts of my risk treatment plan, it really brings together people, processes, and IT to come together in harmony, which in turn will demonstrate a payoff in the investment to protect our business. Ultimately, protecting our customers and employee data should be our top priority. We each have a role to play. Many people around this table, such as the board, the CEO, and the COO, you should help define the scope, the objectives, and the priorities so we are all very clear on what I just talked about. Example, what we must protect being what are our crown jewels, as I mentioned earlier, and what is our appetite for risk. And the Chief Information Security Officer will own the strategy and ensure that we hold everyone responsible and they will be held responsible for implementing and executing. Everyone else is critical to the equation. We will impart knowledge to all staff and ensure we push down deep knowledge right to the edge of the business and create our own human firewall. Our employees will be first line of defense, making people aware on how to keep the bad guys out and how not to let them in, which is very, very critical. So the business, we have to be vigilant. We have to be ready at all levels. Its message really has to stem from the top down. And we all must do this while remaining competitive and going about our daily business. With this, the knowledge of knowing all of this, risk treatment plan, what is our assets, as I talked about earlier, who's responsible, and how we go about implementing that risk treatment plan, none of it's 100% secure, but that's okay. We have an incident response plan that I have put together, which talks about in the event of an unfortunate breach, what does the business do? Who does what, where, and when? It articulates what a breach could possibly be, okay? Then if this occurs via any malicious act, whether it's internal or external party or human error, what we do. So it clearly lays out what the assets are that are covered by this incident response plan. It talks about the individuals and the stakeholders who are responsible and accountable for certain types of responses. It also talks about every business unit must comply and be very clear on what actions they must contribute to ensure the incident response plan is as seamless as possible. Also helps ensure everyone is safe and we meet our legal obligations, which I think is really important. The beauty about the plan is it's broken down in a number of stages so that we are prepared, we quickly identify the breach, we contain the breach if we can, we remove the threat so we can recover as a business, but most importantly, let's learn from the circumstances so it doesn't happen again. Incident response plans are absolutely critical to the equation, and if we never had that, we would not have the feeling of being secure, which is essentially what security does. It's not 100% safety net, but it's a greater feeling of security, allowing us to sleep better at night. In closing, let's think about our philosophy and our approach and culture when we think about protecting our business from the threat of a ferocious fire. Our diligence, our ability to prevent, detect, and respond and recover from fires is just a natural part of our thinking. And that's how our thinking should be when it comes to securing our assets in the cyber world. A great example is this building we're in has probably been around for 100 years. It's never had a fire, but we have a fire warden test every 2 or 3 weeks to make sure that if something did occur, we are ready to respond. And that's what the incident response plan is aligning and talking to. In the end of the day, cyber attacks are a peril, are a hazard, just like a fire. So let's take action, and I'm hoping you all confirm and support my views on implementing a cybersecurity plan which essentially meets our Tier 4 goal. Thank you.